All right, so do you think this is justified? One of the big data points here was that 1,500% growth when it came to database revenue coming from names like Amazon, Alphabet, and Microsoft. But a lot of people pointed out that's generally low margin revenue, and there's some questions about the profitability of that business that they're getting. What do you say?
Well, I mean, I think in terms of some of the hyperbole you were throwing out before, I mean, this was similar to the guidance we saw from NVIDIA back in May of 23. This was just a drop the mic number that came out. And so that is leading to that huge excitement that this is going to underpin significant revenue growth of their cloud infrastructure business through the rest of the decade. I think it's valid to ask about what are the margins going to look like, and they were pretty coy on the call about that, and also in terms of the free cash flow, given the capex is stepping up, they're going to be free cash flow negative this quarter and this year. But this is still an extraordinary expansion of addressable market, which I think investors are cheering, because as we move into these new markets like AI, people can continue to underestimate the size and expansion of these markets, which is what's leading to such significant growth.
I want to go back to that RPO number. That was another eye-popping number. We just talked about it just a second ago. When you look at that, that's contracted revenue. Shouldn't that give investors the confidence that we're seeing right now? Again, shares up about 29%, RPO up 455%. Doesn't that make this really solidify the fact that they have that kind of pipeline of business coming up? And doesn't that kind of, I think, at least if you're an investor, lessen the importance of the margin, because we know we're getting the revenue?
Well, certainly from our side, we're very interested in what the margins, profits, and free cash flow are going to look like. But you're right. I mean, it is such an extraordinary number. Adding over $300 billion worth of contracts in 3 months. It is just something we've just never seen before. That's why it was so leading to such a powerful share price reaction. And as you say, that is coming from a new swathe of customers. People like OpenAI, given the change of those commercial terms with Microsoft, a lot of that overflow is now going to Oracle, and people like xAI, plus also the sovereign side. That's a new demand driver we've not seen during the internet era, as kind of countries globally build out some AI capability themselves, given how important this technology is. So that's underpinning growth well through the decade. And that's very important from the broader capex spending and sustainability of that capex. There's been such a huge market debate for such a while now, that we can start thinking with more confidence through the capex, not just next year, but into the years beyond that. And obviously that's what Jensen's been talking about in NVIDIA, about 3 to 4 trillion of infrastructure spending per annum by the end of the decade. Maybe that has a little bit more credibility after last night.
All right. Who are the winners and losers after this report, outside of Oracle and their investors, of course? We saw names like Arista Networks higher. We saw AMD higher. In your mind, are there any companies in this AI trade that are losers after this report? And just give us one or two of the biggest winners.
Yeah, well, I mean, the biggest change for us is we think about investing in phases. So you build out infrastructure for new technology, and then once that infrastructure is built, then you can monetize it. So we've seen, NVIDIA is doing so well in the last couple of years, but then that pivoting to now that infrastructure is built out, and these guys all have these Blackwell racks, they can start monetizing through their cloud platforms. And we've seen that in acceleration at Microsoft Azure, even at Amazon Web Services. This is really important in terms of that acceleration, and that's going to play to that capex spending. So all of those capex plays you were highlighting before, that gives you more sort of confidence in that playing out for not just the next year, but for years to come. And that's obviously been the big debate for not just NVIDIA and the compute names, but the networking names as well. There are not too many losers out of this, beyond the fact that just in a cloud world, it was so dominated by 2 players in particular. There's going to be a little bit more breadth to that in an AI world. So again, just a little bit more market share being spread out amongst players, which again gives us a few more investment opportunities.